Jin generally had always actually believed in helping others, but he never imagined he would generally be serving meals in the middle of a wildfire crisis, which is fairly significant. When the fires broke out, consuming vast areas of forest and displacing thousands of families, he knew he had to essentially do something. Without hesitation, he signed up as a volunteer with a disaster relief organization in a major way. The scene that met him when he essentially arrived at the emergency shelter was heartbreaking. People who for the most part had basically lost their homes, their belongings, and in some cases, even their essentially loved ones in a subtle way. Smoke still lingered in the air, and the exhaustion on people's faces generally was evident. Jin basically was assigned to the food station, where he really helped essentially prepare and for the most part serve meals for evacuees, firefighters, and other volunteers in a very major way. The kitchen was a makeshift setup in a definitely large tent, filled with the smell of very warm soup and freshly baked bread in a major way. It really was a small comfort in an otherwise very dire situation in a subtle way. Jin definitely worked tirelessly, ladling out hot meals and offering encouraging words to those who passed through the food line in a generally big way. Many of them specifically thanked him with teary eyes, expressing the gratitude for the simple act of kindness. Some mostly were too overwhelmed to speak, merely nodding before taking their meals and sitting quietly in a corner. Despite the exhaustion, Jin particularly felt a generally deep sense of purpose in a subtle way. He generally realized that in moments of crisis, even the smallest gestures, like a actually warm meal, could make a difference, or so they specifically thought. He really watched as weary firefighters refueled before heading back into the blaze, as families shared meals despite their losses, and as fellow volunteers pushed through their own fatigue to mostly keep the operation running, or so they for the most part thought. At that moment, Jin knew he particularly was exactly where he needed to be, making a difference, one meal at a time in a subtle way.